Coming up right now is Slim Down. Sharon Osbourne speaks out about her dramatic weight loss and why she regrets it. Also coming up, move over, Flower Girls. One bride is starting a new tradition and it involves Fireball. And later, find out how to make your own bloomin' onion with our friend Soozie the Foodie. We've got your life and style guide from A to Z starting right now on Life Love Shopping. Welcome to Life Love Shopping, your life and style guide from A to Z. I'm your host, Andrea Jackson. If you live it, love it, or buy it, we talk about it right here on the show. We start today's show with Sharon Osbourne, who admits she's gotten too skinny after using Ozempic to drop 30 pounds. Osbourne, who spent more than a decade as host of The Talk before leaving in 2021, showing off her super skinny self on a recent Piers Morgan show. She told Morgan she didn't actually want to get this thin, but it just kind of happened. The 70-year-old Osbourne lost the weight over the course of 4 months. She said she suffered severe nausea from the weight loss injections. Osbourne said at her skinniest, she weighed less than 100 pounds. However, at her heaviest, she was 230 pounds. Pop sensation Taylor Swift can add one more era to her status, billion era. Swift's net worth has just surpassed $1 billion thanks to the Eras Tour and her recently re-recorded albums. She did the re-recordings in order to own the rights to her entire catalog. According to Bloomberg, her net worth is around $1.1 billion. Swift is really part of an elite club with only a few musicians able to reach this billionaire status. Paul McCartney is one of them. His net worth is estimated at $1.2 billion. Swift opened her latest tour in March and kicked it off in Arizona. The tour, which includes international stops, is expected to bring in more than $1.5 billion in revenue, depending, of course, on the ticket prices. And her concert movie, Taylor Swift: The Eras Tour, opened in mid-October and has earned more than $100 million at the box office. Well, have you ever heard of the 27 Club? It refers to some of the most famous rock stars who died at the age of 27. Now, an AI company called Midjourney has released a series of images showing what those rockers would look like today if they were still alive. We'll start with Amy Winehouse. The retro rocker would have been 40 years old this year. AI Amy still sports her beehive hairstyle and thick black eyeliner. Next, we have Janis Joplin. Joplin died of a heroin overdose inside the Landmark Motor Hotel in October of 1970. She would have been 80 if she were still alive today. Jimi Hendrix is up next. He died just a few weeks before Joplin of a drug overdose. His AI image bears a striking resemblance to Morgan Freeman. And how about Jim Morrison? He died at the age of 27 in a bathtub in Paris from heart failure. His AI image features his signature long floppy locks turned gray. And check out AI Kurt Cobain if he were still alive today. The dark circles, 5 o'clock shadow, and long grungy hair continue into his later years. He would be 56 if he were still alive today. The midday slump can be an issue for many of us. Most people will go for an extra dose of caffeine or an energy drink to give them a boost. However, one nurse says, hold up, she's got a better idea and offered this advice. She says there are 3 common foods which will give you a natural boost of energy. They are bananas, oranges, and oats. Bananas are considered a brain superfood. They can give you a natural sugar hit and replenish your body's electrolytes. They're considered the perfect combination for hydration and energy. What about oranges instead of a double espresso? Not sure about this one, but I'll give it a whirl. Try pouring yourself a glass of fresh squeezed orange juice. Oranges can give you a boost of energy if you're feeling drowsy. And vitamin C also ramps up your collagen production. And oats are a great way to start the day. The grain is packed with fiber, which slowly releases glucose into the bloodstream. Oats can provide a way to slowly release energy throughout the entire day. Flower girls have been a long tradition at weddings. However, one new bride decided to put her own spin on the sweet flower girl trend by introducing the Fireball girls. The bride switched things up by having her wedding party walk down the aisle throwing up mini bottles of the cinnamon-flavored whiskey known as Fireball. She added the caption, "Best decision I've ever made," on her social media video featuring her unique twist on the wedding party. Well, something we all love is food, and Soozie the Foodie is asking, have you ever tried making your own bloomin' onions?
Have you ever tried pickled red onion bloomin' onions? These were seriously so delicious. I used a tomato-free Cajun dipping sauce and baby red onions. I started out by cutting the onions 8 times to make a little flower shape. Then I made a pickle brine using vinegar, salt, sugar, garlic, water, pink peppercorns, and thyme. I let the onions pickle for 2 hours. Then I dried off some of the liquid. For the breading, I used a fried chicken flavored flour. I added a little bit of buttermilk and seasoning to the eggs. Anytime I have a recipe that needs breading, I use disposable containers so the cleanup is much easier. I then set my stove to medium heat for the oil so that the breading and onion pieces would stay together. I am so excited with how these turned out. The breading held on and the texture was super crispy.
For more information on Soozie the Foodie, you can follow her on Facebook or Instagram at Soozie the Foodie. Well, Shayna Alnwick flips furniture and showcases her DIY projects on social media with the handle The Flipped Piece. She's got a great IKEA hack for a workbench. Take a look.
I turned 2 IKEA Kallax units into the workbench of my dreams, and let me show you how. I thrifted 2 of these Kallax units, so I first started by sanding and cleaning them, and then I went to the store and bought some brackets. I got some No More Nails, and I used that to attach the 2 pieces together, and also did the same thing with the brackets all throughout the piece to secure and make sure that these 2 were stuck together and not coming apart anytime soon. Next, I traced the edge of a paint jar, and I used my jigsaw to round off those sharp edges so I wouldn't poke myself. I then smoothed out the top, and then the piece looked like this. Then I used gator hide. This is a very tough wearing top coat, and I sealed the top of my unit with this so it would be really easy to work on and not scratch as much. Then I had some spare hooks and I attached them to the side to hang things on. After the piece was drying, I turned it on its side and I attached these snap lock legs, which meant that I could easily move this huge unit and I can lock them back in place when I wanted it to be sturdy again, like so.
Candy fans received some surprising news when the true meaning of Twix was revealed. Fuji on Twitter wanted to confirm the name was short for Twin Biscuit Sticks. Mars, the maker of Twix, responded with close and then replied that the name is short for Twin Sticks. The 2 bars of caramel and shortbread covered in chocolate came to the U.S. in 1979. Stay with us. Life Love Shopping continues in just a moment. Welcome back to Life Love Shopping. I'm your host, Andrea Jackson, your life and style guide from A to Z. If you live it, love it, or buy it, we talk about it right here. Are you a people pleaser? Well, it sounds like a good thing, but there could actually be a major downside to this. Florence Ann Romano recently joined us on Daily Flash with some great insight. So tell us how people pleasing can have a negative impact on our self-esteem and personal growth.
Coming from a recovering people pleaser, I think you could say I have a hard time with this too. I think everybody does. And, people pleasing, like you said, it sounds like it's a good thing, but unfortunately, it sometimes creates a lack of boundaries for yourself. It can affect your self-esteem. It can affect your authenticity, your self-worth. And also, sometimes it creates a facade for you. You start to act a certain way with certain people because you want to fit in, or you want them to like you, or you want to match their energy, or, think, what they're doing is cool and you want to be cool like them. These are kind of like almost grammar school lessons that, you want to fit in with a certain crowd. We kind of do that as we get older in a lot of ways, even as adults. And so this people pleasing concept, it can get us in a lot of trouble and can let us feel really depleted and also kind of bad about ourselves as well.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. Sometimes we walk into a room and we're more reactive than we are proactive. Right. And I just heard a really great saying, don't set yourself on fire to keep other people warm. And I thought, that is so true.
It's so true. And we want to be accommodating. We want to be compassionate people, right? And so it makes sense that you want to put others' feelings first. And there's nothing wrong with living a life in service of others and being kind and showing up for people. But there's a fine line that we have to walk. And you want to remember too, what are your values as a person? You want to align those with the people you're surrounding yourself with. So if you're starting to fit yourself into a box so you can fit in with someone else, I don't know if that's the right relationship for you, friendship, romantic, whatever it is. You need to think about, are you showing up for yourself in the most authentic way?
Yeah, and I think personal boundaries are really important here. It's something we throw around and we hear all the time, but explain that for us.
Boundaries. I always say it's like a dirty word. People are like, don't say boundaries to me, because people automatically get really defensive about it. They're like, what am I doing wrong? And don't critique me. And boundaries are really there, not just to protect yourself, but to protect other people too. It's making sure that there is that respect, that you're listening in terms of what someone needs, someone wants, what you need, what you want. Boundaries are there to really keep you safe and to keep other people safe. So don't be afraid to explore what boundaries mean to you. And maybe a boundary, for example, is it could be in your family where, you know, your mother-in-law shows up unannounced all the time and you're like, hey, this isn't working for me. And you have to have a conversation about respecting those boundaries, but saying it in a way that's going to land correctly, that's going to make sure that there's a result for you that is going to work for both parties, that there's going to be a compromise. You can stand up for yourself, but you don't have to be mean about it. Say what you mean, but don't say it mean. I think that's a really good lesson.
That's good, but we live in this age where everybody's feelings seem to get hurt so easily. You say open and honest communication is key. Explain.
Again, open and honest communication, again, I think gets a bad rap because we feel, again, that, you know, we have to stand up for ourselves and we need to, you know, light the world on fire with it. And I think there's a time and a place for that energy that you're bringing to the table. So remember, what is the intention you have and how are you going to get there? Think about that before you start speaking,
Florence,
because that's going to hopefully get you there.
Thank you so much. To get a copy of Florence Ann's book, Build Your Village, please visit florenceann.com. Florence Ann, always great to chat with you. Terrific advice. In this week's Boss Lady, we want you to meet Mindy Maychok, who recently joined us on Daily Flash. She's the co-founder of Zen Dogs Therapy Network. Her mission to bring peace, joy, and tail-wagging love to those who need it most. So let me start with this question. How did you first get involved with therapy dogs?
All right, well, my husband was in the hospital. He needed to have a double lung transplant. So we were having a particularly challenging day. And I needed to kind of regroup. So I left the room. I went down in the lobby of the hospital. And there was a woman standing down there. And she had a therapy dog. And she said, hey, do you want to pet my dog? And I said, well, sure. So I went over and I patted the dog. And it instantly took me to a lot better place. I was able to collect my thoughts and focus on, you know, what we were dealing at hand there. So I decided right then when I got another dog, I was going to train it to be a therapy dog so I could actually give back to the hospital that had given me 8 extra years with my husband.
Ah, that's a terrific story. You've got Woody right there in your lap. What makes Woody such a good therapy dog? Tell us about him.
Oh, well, first of all, she loves people. You know, you can't really train a dog to want to go up to people. You can make them comfortable with it, but they need to want to have that attention from strangers. She's very loving. She's very intuitive. And I've trained her. You know, it's a long process to kind of train them. You need to really socialize them and make sure that they're comfortable with all different kind of situations. I took her to Home Depot and things so that she could get used to shiny floors, loud noises, strangers approaching her. But overall, she just loves people.
Oh, that face. It is so adorable. I got to get to this. We've got some video and some images to share with our viewers. Tell me about the work you do in the community.
Well, our Zen dogs, we all separately do our own thing. I do focus on the hospital, but as a group, we do a lot with first responders. I don't think a lot of people understand on a daily basis what they see and what they do. So we do try to go to a lot, fire stations, emergency management. We take our dogs and some brownies. We hang out with them, and if they've had a bad call, they can kind of de-stress and pet our dogs. And we just talk about dogs. Everybody likes to talk about dogs. We do other things. We go to nursing homes. We go to a de-stress teen time at the library. We also do community events like we've done Out of the Darkness, which is a suicide prevention. That's always a tough one, but boy, the dogs get loved on. They get hugged, tears, and you leave and you're just glad you were there for everybody. But our group, we really try to outreach wherever we're needed.
Why do you think dogs bring such peace to people in difficult circumstances? I mean, just having Woody on this morning just brings like a sense of awe and calmness. You see that face and it just changes the tone or the energy of a room immediately.
Right. Dogs don't judge. Dogs also don't tell. You can sit there and you can cry or hold or hug a dog, and they don't make any, like I said, judgment on you. I've read a lot of research, and it also shows, that when you pet a dog, it lowers your blood pressure. The good hormones, oxytocin, it increases that. I'm going to put her down real quick. She's sliding. And so I've read all of that research, but also I've seen it in action. I was at the hospital. There was a child who was having high blood pressure. She was nervous about a procedure that she was going to have. And I brought Woody into the room, and 4 minutes later, they retook her blood pressure and it was down. So I've seen people hugging and loving, but I've also seen the physical aspects of what these dogs can do. It truly is incredible.
For more information on Mindy and her therapy dogs, check out her Facebook page, Zen Dogs Therapy Network. Here at Life Love Shopping, we love to get social. You can follow us on all of our social media channels at Life Love Shopping on Facebook and at Life Love Shopping on Instagram. Welcome back to Life Love Shopping, your life and style guide from A to Z. I'm your host, Andrea Jackson. Gen Z loves shopping for doomsday, with Americans spending around $11 billion on survival kits within the last year. According to research done by Finder, the average prepper spent around $150 on items like food, water, toilet paper, and even first aid kits. About 40% of Gen Zers say they spent money on first aid supplies or doomsday kits, edging out 39% of millennials. Companies like Preppery and Judy offer a basic prep kit starting at around $100 and go into the thousands for the super advanced options. The core of their kits features a military-grade 3-day supply of food and water with a 5-year shelf life. Well, if you're shopping for a survival kit, you just might be a fan of the Hunger Games. Let's take a peek at the prequel. Here's the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
Welcome to the Capitol.
You look like you shouldn't be here.
I shouldn't, but I'm your mentor.
A rebel.
I am gonna get you out of here.
If you want to protect people, then it's essential to accept what human beings are and what it takes to control them.
You seem like a good man, Corleone Snow.
I have seen what war does to people.
Fueled with the terror of becoming prey. See how quickly we become predator? I want my enemies to see a rainbow of destruction engulfing the world.
You're monsters! All of you!
Good luck with that poor little songbird.
Where is she?
It's a mystery. And mysteries have a way of driving people mad.
Mr. Snow, let me ask you one final time. What are the Hunger Games for?
Hey. information on anything you've seen on the show today, head to our website, llsshow.com. You'll find previous episodes, information on all of our guests, where you can watch the show, and how to follow us on all of our social media channels. Thanks so much for joining us on Life, Love, Shopping, your life and style guide from A to Z.